I don't think ignorance is right. I have
You know, I mean, some people say, you have to give it to somebody, something like, so say, you know, you have to hold them more because it's, before I was a
so on there, it doesn't show how many subscribers because the one that Jean gave me, I want to say I think it's like
I
does it show
have,
like
um, the channel itself has 41 subscribers. There's 2 people currently watching.
and you did video her already in the casket and stuff.
Yeah, I have someone alive and then I have some of my family. But I have a separate because I'm not going to do it because I don't have internet. I'm not going to do the stream at the burial itself. So I'm going to have another video for the burial. And I'll upload that to YouTube. You can,
Thank you. First time. Your
Tom,
turn.
Tom.
Nice to meet you. The first time.
Really.
Harry's not boy. Like, we go and trip together. He's about the first time meeting him. That's right. Oh,
When you say,
you know what? I should go to Palam like that. What you doing? Oh, she got shower? No, she never come over. Yeah. How far are they? 10 minutes. 4 minutes. Want to check? Harmony. Yeah, them are No, those are not on the whole program. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. All right. Get over here. Okay. Good.
Jesus.
But also, yeah, we can definitely one. All right.
Oh, this one.
I need to know all the pallbearers are here. 4 is here. I, Richard, Todd, Kyle, Thomas on the mechanism.
Okay.
Can you see? Can you Good morning, everyone. Everyone could find mental time, memory, understand that it's very difficult emotions that everyone feels. We're here to celebrate. We're here to celebrate her. So many adjectives that we can use to describe her. She was a mother, a daughter, co-worker, wife. She was a friend. I called her my big little sister, like she was my little sister because she had a crazy heart. Her heart was so big, and when somebody has a big heart, people, when I look at her name at times, she could the S, she was sassy. Again, the other S, sensitive. Those that truly know Cass learn to love her. And so we're here today because she's home with our Lord and Savior. So at this time, I want to bring up our pastor, Pastor Gabriel Austin. Again, if people could silence and stay away from the front while we are moving along. Thank you.
God bless you, precious people, everyone who are gathered here in this place. Have a come together at a time like this, in a celebration of life for Cassandra, Fletcher, whatever she has been to you, to celebrate the life of the family, give our deepest condolences. Give us assurance. Tell us, blessed are those that mourn, for they shall be comforted. So we are comforted even right now, even with our God that calls us to triumph and help us to get over this and through it. In the name of the Lord. So right now, before we have the opening prayer, we have the song, How Great Thou Art. How great. Just trying to bow your heads. Father, Heavenly Father, Lord, just remember your precious people who are even sorrowful at heart, for wondering why everything is in your hands. And everything that you do is good and well done. And you have the best in store for us. To live the life that you will want us to live according to your word. The Lord, to touch the hearts of your people. Remind them of the hope. Remind them that you are in control. Remind them that you are coming back again. And Lord, walk with you. So dear Lord, we say thank you for the comfort. Lord, we say thank you for wiping the tears from our eyes. Lord, we even thank you for seeing our tears and hearing our cries. And you will. Amen. I'm going to have our scripture reading from the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 1 through 10. Read by Redford Salmon.
Everything there is a season, a time to plant, a time to pluck up, and which is planting, a time to kill, and a time to heal, a time to break down, and a time to build up, a time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing, a time to get, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to cast away, a time to bend, and a time to swoop, a time to keep silent, and a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh, and that within wherewith he that laboreth? I have seen the travail be exercised in it. He has made everything beautiful in his time, and he has set the world in their heart, and so that no man can find out the work that God maketh from the beginning to the end. And know that there is no good in them, but for men to rejoice labor in it. It is the gift of God. I know that what God doeth, it shall be forever. Nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. God doeth, that men should appear before him. The which hath been, and now, that which is to be, hath already been, and God requires the which is past. Thank you.
Thank you for that song, Pride of the First Need, special dedication by Junior Texas Father. And it's going to be read by Marie Mullen.
Although cast, obviously, all the things look, I would say, stood together down upon earth and saw your tired face. He put his arms around you and lifted you to rest. God's garden must be beautiful. He always takes the best. He knew that you were suffering, that you were in pain. He knew that you would never get well on earth again. He saw the road was getting rough, and it broke our hearts to lose you. But we did not go alone, for part of us went with you the day God called you home. Rest in eternal peace of that. Where you no one ever told. Don't cry for me. Don't shed the time I spent alone. Don't cry for me. No one needs to play. Don't cry for me. Don't shed the time I spent away. And when don't cry for me.
Now she's smiling. At this time, we're gonna have.
Cassandra Simone Fletcher was born on June 20th, 1973, to Jean Pierce and Junior Fletcher in Almontown, Kingston, Jamaica. Cass was raised by her father and paternal grandparents, Edward and Cynthia Ellis, and with his sisters, Donna and Leonie. Cass attended Macaulay Primary School, where her talent in track and field was noticed. She was encouraged by her father, Junior, who had a natural talent and love for soccer, along with his sister, Donna, who was also a track and netball athlete. Cass was loved and supported by all family members. Loved us all of her grandchildren. But knowing Cass, she thought she was more favored and more special. All of that. Cass loved herself, truly loved herself, and this made her an absolute fighter. With strong extended family presence, Cass developed confidence, poise, and she had a commanding, since that was how our grandparents raised us. So because of her confidence, oh yes, and arrogance, she would order me around, reprimand me, pull my ear, and act as though I was her little rag doll. Cass was very smart, and everyone believed she had a future in track and field. She aspired to attend St. Andrew's High School for Girls as she passed her common entrance, but as I reflect back, I remembered St. Andrew's High School was not that good at track. So it must have been the uniforms that were cast eye, typical of her. The dream, the dream never manifested because Cass migrated to the US in 1985 to live with her mother Jane. The transition from Jamaica to the US was rough on her. No friends, grandmother, and extended family members that she adored and was her main support. Cass attended Walt Whitman Junior High, but struggled without her support. The climate change from one season to four, a cultural shock of different people and nations, and none of which she understood. Without the boost and usual support, track took a backseat and rebelliousness was front and center. Cass went on to attend Sheepshead Bay High School, but dropped out in 10th grade. Please don't feel bad for her. This was her journey to her stardom. Cass taught, Cass taught herself street smarts. She was resilient, she had mental toughness, and she knew how to work hard for every penny, and she even mastered the art of trash talking. Boy, she was best. Cass loved nice things, and since no one gave her what she wanted, she started working early to afford her taste for the finer things in life. If you knew Cass, you knew she loved everything that had branding, yes. Jean and Cass' relationship started to get better, and with Cass not being in school at a very young age. At the age of 17, she caught the eyes of Lenky, who later became the father of her three children, Star, Chanel, and Chloe. Cass being a Gemini means she had a party girl and a workaholic, like only Cass can be, and often was. But she had a balance to it due to her strong faith in God, which taught her and taught us, which taught her and taught us as her grandparents had only been raised her for years. To her father, grandmother, and her support was a constant reminder for her to strive harder for more and better. At the age of 22, she gave birth to Star. Star was the absolute love of her life, her pride and joy. Cass started us on many occasions that she should go back to school, get her GED, and commit to nursing school. She got Mary Immaculate Hospital, her GED, and passed it, and later found out she was pregnant, this time with baby number 2, Chanel. By this time, she was fully committed to her lifestyle, and Bonnie and Clyde with Blakey in their new relationship. Cass had her eyes set on a home in Long Island, a new car, and another source of income. Together, she and Lakey purchased the home, and I remember distinctly he bought her a green Lexus coupe. She thought she was everything. He proposed, and they were supposed to wed. Cass was in paradise, but girl was such a workaholic, she still maintained her jobs. Her full-time, evening, and her weekend gig. As you know, Cass, she had oftentimes 3 or 4. Cass was in several partners. She wanted to live big, dream hard, and she wanted to do it at an early age. When her grandmother got sick, Superwoman was able to step in. She swooped in, flew to Jamaica after her Aunt Leonie died, and she purchased a home for our grandparents because she promised them that she would take care of those she loved. With work and the home going good, Cass got some extra strength and began looking outside the box for bigger, better wonders. Why she moved so fast, but now I realize that she probably felt she didn't have a long time here. By age 30, He was a big homeowner locally and internationally. She was flying to England frequently to see her father and siblings, and to Jamaica to check on her grandparents, and then to Canada to see other family members and friends. Then came baby number 3. She was on top of the world, and to me, I was like, Cass, I have no more room for all your ventures and businesses. She always said, Tina, you have to get with the program. But in 2003, when our aunt died, it took Cass real hard. Then in 2004, our grandmother died. We were all a mess. Trying to repair the broken relationships among us as family members, as she had began spending more time with her own mother, Jean, to repair what she thought was broken, which meant spending more time calling and doing stuff like mother daughters should. Jean enjoyed this, and their relationship was off and business hours, but they were always friends, and they always kept in touch. In 2007, Cass called me, told me she was diagnosed with cancer. I cried like my rock, but this time I didn't have the words or the power. I vowed that I would be there for her until the very end. Whenever she needed me throughout the years, even when we had our disagreements, and Lord, no, we had without her 13 years with cancer. Some were much scarier than others. And in 2008, that was rather a rough patch. I remembered her, she thought she was gonna die. God pulled her through. 2012, she wrote me a goodbye letter, and she thought she wouldn't be here. That's letter. I said to me, because I was supposed to be her ride or die, I would hype her up. Come on, we're gonna make it. Immediately after, I would find a place, just cry. She made a bucket list. And she would be around to see them graduate. And she wanted to see her from. She committed herself to Christ. She would often laugh. And she would say, don't give Thomas the mic. If you don't want anything to tell him, don't give him the microphone. So we often had was her strength spiritually. Because of this, she wanted to marry him. It was important for her to marry before she passed. And so in 2018, and she was determined to rewrite her history about death. Discussed it with me that she wanted to go back to school. And I was like, Cass, how many things can you do? But you know what, looking back, I realized why. She enrolled in Suffolk County Community College to study nursing. And well, assignment needed. And I said, Cass, that's you. someone got down to work. So she tried and she completed her assignments on her own. Cass was so funny because she would often call me and say, Tina, kids them are driving me crazy. I love them. But what can I do? You know? They're gonna send me to an early grave and I hope it's them. She really loved their kids. She was so fun of being a grandmother, even though she looked like Tina no near across the She would often say, it's the son she had. And she would text me, my Tina, Jelani cutie man, why not why she pretty fun. She was happy. She was in a happy place. Has captured all of our hearts. Our strength, her resilience, her love for her family and her friends. That's what you gave her a room, Cass would buy every book and everything to tell you it now was so. She maintained her determination, her strength and her faith, all of us. Even in her last days, I would look at her and say, Cass, you're beautiful. With her heart. And we often say to her, Cass, God is not going to want to appear. It doesn't take big things. We have a long way to go. She would call me at Itch and say, Tina, you want the space, but we're not going to give it to you. We would often laugh. On that marriage. In her last days, she was like 60 pounds. First thing she did was she wanted to brush her teeth. And she knew whenever I came around, oh no. So when she started brushing her teeth, I said, I'm gonna wheel you in your wheelchair to the mall. Hey, even in death, together. Awesome. Ray of light, my fashionista, sister, wife, and my best friend. And you are really my superwoman.
Come on, for that wonderful heartfelt. And it's time to go have the song, Love You, Love You. Yeah.
All of the stood me, all of the truth, all the joy from home, all the wrong that you done, every dream you made come true, for all of you, I'll be grateful, baby. So from my eyes could see so great you must be. Lift me up when the reach you can't be in me. And that's my faith, you gave it back to me. It was all I had you love.
there is more than enough room in my Father's home. It was not so, I will back to. I'm going to prepare a place for you, Cassandra, where everything is ready. I will come and get you so that you will always be with me where I am. And you know the way where I am going. 7 verse 1. Good people never live long. I don't know why, but the good ones always go. Sometimes the bad ones. Good people passed away. The godly often died before their time. But no one seems to come or wonder why. No one seems to understand that God is protecting them from the evil. Oh, for those who follow godly paths will rest when they die. Cassandra, we go rest in peace. I always tell her that people need to know my favorite. She always say, I think we are coming to ground. Saying, they are coming to ground. The more brother, we are coming to ground. And they are so resting. I'm not taking up too much time because I was spent from less than 1 day. And Lord knows that
At this time, it's gonna have some tribute from one red, the warrior, and afterwards, we'll open up about 2, maybe 3 individuals, a minute and a half, give a reflection. First, Thomas.
With my life. And our aunt saw the man and prayed for her. The Lord saw the husband. And I spent hours in it. Nights, nights. It's amazing how you can meet somebody's heart. I met her heart when I met her in person. Was she had it in prayer. Last year one. One day I can say she loved God. Sometimes in life it's not how you start. Certainly how you end. We love our daughters. We love our family. We love our friends. I just want to close by saying I want to thank you. Make her the person. For me today, I don't want to remember her as a wife. I don't want to remember her as a daughter, a aunt, a mother. I want to remember her as a human. Like all of us here today are imperfect. Because of her hard work, her love, and her dedication, she has created these perfect memories that will live in my heart. And I hope they will live in yours. I can safely stand here and
Again,
you are the easiest person to deal with. all those in the right place. Accomplish that. And for that reason, this day go on. I'm pretty sure she wouldn't want us to go. Can remember her, celebrate her, honor her by being the best we can. With that, beautiful people, be great.
Okay. Mullins, so now.
Here so much. That was the role I played in Cast Life, called at Cast Life. I didn't want to believe it, because too often she bounced back. I don't have the words. I never knew how she did it, but she always seemed to surprise and amaze me. So when, now you're me, you're Doubtful Thomas. And I was like, not because I'm doubtful, but because my faith always told me that she would be here. Never did I think that Cass would have gone, even at this time. But even with the pandemic, that didn't shake Cass. That was how strong she was. So I sat one night and I wrote something for her. She often liked when I wrote poems. So I wrote something for her called Warrior in the program. I'm a winner anyway, if I go or if I stay. Born from descendants of the Maroon tribe, which means warrior like blood flows through my veins. Diagnosed with neuroendocrine cancer almost 13 years ago, which for me was a young age. But I overcame and distracted me. And vicious lies, takers, manipulators, and all others, but that couldn't break me. Not even an era of pandemic COVID-19 couldn't take me. Even used the fear of dying from cancer to scare me. But that only pushed, strengthened, and because I was weak. I put my trust in God, my Creator, who said my journey is now complete. So don't cry for me, since I'm in eternal peace. Live your life to the fullest as I did for me. The judgment day is coming. Be prepared as I was for me. I always knew I was a winner, anyway, had I gone.
That's how we have to agree. Individuals who will be able to, for future reflection. One,
My church, Calvary Temple, my pastor, wants to stand up condolences to the families and friends. And then Cass at Calvary Temple, along with her husband, from a person, that's what. Everything that everyone up here has to say about Cass, we, because she taught us something. We all go through trials and tribulations in life. Nobody's perfect. But she taught me that whatever trial or storm or tribulation that we all face in life, as long as we believe in Jesus and we have God in our life, we can get past and her past, but also to seek the Lord. Because I'm glad she seeked the Lord before she passed. Amen. And not just some, not just peace, but all will be added on to you. And I just want to say to everyone, if you feel empty, you will fill that gap. And you won't have to leave here feeling the way that you do. So just rejoice that Cass is in the arms of the Lord. Hallelujah.
just like grew up together. Whenever I was coming from work, I would have bring her chocolate. Her father was very strict with her. So when her grandmother sat on the veranda and I was coming, if the father was there, the grandmother would give me a signal. And whenever he's not there, I give her the chocolate. Last July, for my birthday, he and Jackie and a friend came. He said to me, if I am sick and I cannot drive to Connecticut, I am going to have someone take me. It was so special. I would send her money. She didn't want to take money from me. I said she was in England. And up to this very day, I can't forget my father calculate how much the pound valued. And when that money, I think that money he borrowed it. I will never forget that continuously do it for me. She was a real friend, a true friend, and she will be always loved.
Thank you, everybody. Star, Mel, Chloe, and then Mr. Mom. Everybody who's really knows how to feel. And I just want her baby that's for a little. Auntie Cass, I affectionately have known her to be my mother's best friend for a very long time. I tease them all the time because they're freaking crap. And Auntie Cass, I will never forget on her birthday, she asked everybody to wear pink and white. That birthday party that she had. And it was at that party that she told everybody that she's pregnant. But she said, what you don't know, that I've been dealing with this for a while, and she wasn't sad, she wasn't scared. I will never forget the strength that she showed. She came in this beautiful sequin pink dress that had this white, even though it didn't come to pass, I think you all should know, is that she did. And I want to read this because this was something that she wanted, it was a non-profit organization that she wanted to work on. It's called the Survivor Seed of Faith. And the objective of this program was to be able to assist people universally who are surviving with a terminal diagnosis of having terminal illness, assisting with financial assistance, or able to work on a consistent fundraising and donations to assist family in dealing with a terminal illness through medical assistance, transportation, spiritual counseling, and peer support. The goal was to bring to the less fortunate, dealing with the day-to-day challenges of living with a terminal illness. And her background. Cassandra Thomas was diagnosed 13 years ago with neuroendocrine carcinoid cancer. A year after being diagnosed, Cassandra stated while attending an appointment with a specialist, she was publicly embarrassed by a doctor who refused to treat her, in which he announced loudly in the waiting area. It was financial support. Cassandra stated, I want to see people recover from losing hope while dealing with a terminal illness. Because many people believe death is next when they are challenges with faith, hope, and a good support system. Those were her words, and this was her organization, and I just thought we should know that.
Thank you, everyone. Family, read up the eulogy and so. Two things we would like to deal with. If you get a chance to say something, even if you did. Shout out. I love you. Just shout that. And now for the legacy that she has left. Tenacity, hard work, legacy. If you don't mind, in a way of put your hands together. It's your turn to live this legacy. Before we have the last song and also the final view, I just want to encourage you from the word of the Lord, God's written word, and that's the best way that we get encouraged. It's by God's word, all right? Amen. And the same scripture that was read, nothing is also in me, but in my Father's house are many mansions. If we're not, so I would have told you. And I go to prepare a place for you, for myself, that where I am, you may be also. And to read. And I just want to just use a theme. Don't let your heart be troubled. In other words, let's shout in the air. Everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right. Chapter in chapter 14, Jesus says, don't let your heart be troubled. But there's a purpose and a reason why he says this. In chapter 13, the previous chapter, the disciples received some bad news. And of course, throughout our hearing today and all that we have understood and that I know from us, and of course, anytime we hear bad news, we start to speak. But of course, in the midst of bad news, the Lord Himself will bring goodness. He will bring comfort, even at a time of sorrow. So the three things that they heard, well, you're the one that comes to save us. How in the world can one of us come, state of mind, to betray you, Lord? Bad news. So of course there was a stir in the area. Secondly, when they heard that Jesus said, now, well, I'm going to have to leave you for a little while. After they found out that He's the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, He's the Savior of the world, they wanted to hold on to Him to make sure that they're comforted forever, that He will take the kingdom back, He will take over Jerusalem. How in the world, Jesus, if you leave us? We will be all by ourselves. And some of us feel that way sometimes. We feel all alone when we have lost a loved one. But Jesus said in His word, lo, I'm with you always, even to the end of the world. Was specifically towards one of His innermost disciples, the one of the inner circle, 23 times. Not just once, not twice, but 3 times. Yes, and there's a purpose behind all of that. And Peter felt melancholy. He felt, oh no, there's no way I will ever betray you. There's no way I will ever deny you. Peter did deny the Lord. The trial in your life, the Lord sees and He knows what you're going through. He understands the word of the Lord, but sometimes you just will continue to moan and you will mourn and you will go through the rituals of sadness. So when He sees you going through these issues of life, and He sees you in the sad state, and your compassion seems low, He will come up with the best word possible, like how He did in chapter 14. He simply says, let not your heart be troubled. Everything is going to be okay. Yeah. If you believe in the Lord, if you trust Him, and she heard of many people who have faced demise even through the issues that she had faced. And she kept on trucking, she kept on pushing, she kept on pressing. And no matter what, it seemed like nothing would be able to stop her. But when she had come to the end of her journey, the Lord was able to say, well done, my good and faithful servant. Because you've been faithful over these few things. I will make you rulers over many. So we're grateful that she kept on and she pressed towards the mark. Now she have a home prepared for her because you have done a good work. Welcome home. You've been faithful over these few things. Welcome home. So now it's your turn. To live the life that the Lord wants you to live. He wants you to be committed to the work zone with all that's in you and spread the special gospel of Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, living the life in Him. And the last verse I would say, as the Lord made His promise, the golden text of the Bible says, for God so loved the world, that He gave His child everlasting life.
Amen.
The Son is having a time in the world, everlasting life. We want to join her one day. And we just gotta live for the Lord, and do our work while it is day. But when night comes, no man can work. God bless you with these few words. I just want to encourage you. Let not your heart change. Everything. God bless you. Now this time we're preparing for the last final view of our dear sister. And as doing a final view here.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The word I would be going to be leaving to the Canasta Cemetery on Avenue P in Renton. If you're going to join us, I ask you, please come up from the left side, pay your final respects. We have another service in the other room, so we're going to ask you that you leave that door over there. Okay? Canasta allows only a certain amount of people because of the pandemic. Pay your final respects and exit the chapel through that door.